So in a case where you want to actually have control of this, you can actually select this same plane, and under the particle system, let's come down. So if you actually open where it says render, and then you go where it says collection, and down here you actually notice it says use count. We can actually use count. So if we open this, notice there's two types of grass. So we have the type 1, type 2. So what the thing is, if you actually look at this right now, there's a lot of dry grass in there. So in a case where you want to actually have control of this, you can actually put the number of grass. So you can say 30 of this, which right now, since I've actually said out of 100, like 30% of it should be the grass, should be dry grass, meaning you have a lot of dry grass like that. Or if you want to have a lot of green grass, so you can come to type 1 and then say 60 should be this type, and then another 60, then another 60 can be this type. So notice you actually have a lot of green grass, and you can actually reduce the number of the dry grass as well. So let's say something like 10. If I say 10, meaning I'll have even lesser of that. So it depends with what you actually want to make. So have fun with that. And another thing is, for randomness, when I actually posted the image that I actually made for this, someone in the comments suggested if we could show a bit more of the ground itself, that would actually help. It will actually help with the realism of it. So if we actually come here to the top, select this. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the particle system because my machine is running real slow. So if we actually go here where it says weight paint, so we can actually come down here, and down here where we have vertex group, there's a plus symbol here. Just enable that, and now what we can do is, notice if the weight shade is 1, and you can actually change the radius here and the strength. If I paint, it actually changes to something like the predator thingy, how the predator is to see, whatever. Anyway, so the thing is, where I'm painting here, meaning where it says, where it's red, where it shows red here, it means the weight is actually 1. So the idea is I want to paint the whole thing, so you can increase the brush size. So right now I want to vamp it up so that I actually paint the whole thing. Okay, so it's all red. So now, if actually, let me just enable, before we actually go too far, let's go back to particle system, and down here where it says vertex group, we'll come where it says density, and where it says density, just add this group that we actually made that side. So notice now, if we actually look, let me go back. Okay, let me just enable the particle system again. Notice now we have grass everywhere. So now if I reduce the brush size, just something like maybe 10, 50, let's see that. How big is that? Okay, just for demonstration. So if I actually paint now, reduce the weight to 0. So make sure it says 0 here. So notice if I actually paint now, wherever I paint, the grass actually goes away. So you can actually have fun and paint wherever you want, and then you actually won't have grass in those areas. So I will not overdo it. Let me just try here and there. If you don't like what you've done, you can always push the weight to 1 and then draw in again, meaning the grass will actually come back. Notice that. All right, so for now I think I'll leave it at that. I'm okay. Now I can go back to object mode, and let's go into the camera view, and notice now we have selected places where there's no grass, so you can actually have fun with that. And yeah, so let me just do a render for this, and then after you do your render, oh, in fact, before you do your final render, the thing is, before you do render, you come here where it says view layer, this thing that looks like photos here. So you enable where it says denoising data, and then you go under compositing. So make sure it's here where it says use nodes, you enable that, and then you select this. So if you don't actually see some of these here, it's because you didn't enable where it says denoising data, so you actually get extra settings. And then you actually search for denoise, and then you plug it in, and now you can just plug this in there and that in there and albedo in there. So now you have a clean looking image once you actually render your image. I've noticed because of when we go under shading, if we actually select, oops, let me just turn that off so that I can actually have my machine running a bit fast. If I select the plane, what's that? I've noticed there's distance down there between the grass and the actual plane. So the reason why there's that distance is because of this here, the displacement that we actually added. So the thing is, just reduce this 0.0, I think 1 works just fine, because now you can't actually have that distance. So just make sure that is in place. If we actually do a render now, you'll notice that is not there. Okay, so that looks much better. So we can even reduce it some more, 0.0025. okay, so that actually works better for me. Then another thing is, with the camera you can have fun, you can position it, like in my case with this image that I've actually shown you. I actually positioned the camera I wanted it to look like it's like a hill, it's a mountain top. And another thing is, before actually in this, you can always go back to the particle system, and if you feel the grass height is not good enough, you can always go back and just make sure it is the size you want. So here where it says size or hair length, you can just increase this to something like 2. You actually get longer strands of hairs here in the grass type. So just come into the grass type. So if you, depending on where you want to position your camera, if you position your camera where the camera is close to the grass, you will notice these are actually very low poly, because I made them low poly because I actually figured I'll actually put a lot of them, since the particle system 3000, I don't know if it's 30,000 that I added there, is a very huge number, and those points actually get multiplied that much. So my machine would actually crash if I overdo it. So the idea is just to have them looking smooth, clean and all that. We can actually add a subdivision surface to these points. So select so you go to the actual original in the grass type, so select the dry grass and then add the subsurface, and then go to type 1, type 2, depending on whatever you've named them, and then just add that. But notice that this will actually slow down your render, because now we've actually vamped up the system. It will actually feel the rough. But otherwise, thank you for watching. Catch me in my next video that I'll make. You can also suggest whatever you want me to make in the comment section. But otherwise, bye bye.